Dear friends, we will speak about integrity based on the book Primary Greatness by Stephen R. Covey. So I hope you will get benefit from these points. And this chapter in his book speaks about integrity. So it starts with a quote by Gordon A. Eddy. It says, "If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything." So basically one has to have a compass and understand what he values, what he doesn't value, what is important, what is not important, what is principle centered, what is not principle centered, what is in harmony with timeless principles of human effectiveness and success, and what is not. Total integrity is the first lever of primary greatness. People who have lost integrity live and work in a world of seeming to be something they are not. Living a false life is a heavy burden on your conscience and on the people who rely on you. And total integrity approach removes that burden from your life. In other words, if you value integrity and if you try to live in line with integrity, if you try to exemplify integrity in your life, those who have primary greatness are people for whom total integrity is deeply inscribed in their character. So this text is about centering your life on the principle of total integrity. Now people speak about ethics and they say that ethics is related to integrity, but sometimes ethics can take you down the wrong path. It's not that ethics is wrong, ethics is not wrong, but it can become quite superficial. So some people, they confuse ethics with legal issues or take some kind of a departmental or compartmental approach to ethics, or partial approach to ethics, not complete or full approach to ethics. So another way is integrated or organic approach to ethics. Now with this integrated approach to integrity, we naturally see everything through the lens of ethics, and then consequently everything is integrated and not seen in different frames or departments. Everything is interrelated and everything is based on timeless principles. Now this may sound maybe too intellectual, or maybe there is too many words that are not so maybe easy to understand, but it will become clear as we go, as we discuss these points, it will become clear what we are talking about. So there is primary greatness and there is secondary greatness, and secondary greatness has to do with appearances, with external success, achievements, money, fame, facilities, and primary greatness has to do with human character, with human goodness, with human qualities, with spiritual qualities. So primary greatness is what one really is, and secondary greatness is about what you seem to be or what you want to present yourself to the world, like you are like this. So anyway, so I say often that you are not only the person you present yourself on Facebook, like smart, beautiful, successful, happy, but you are also what you do when no one is looking. You are what you do when no one is looking. Now, in Hamlet of Shakespeare, Hamlet is struggling or wrestling with the issue of integrity. And then he says, what a piece of work is a man, how noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving how express and admirable, in action how like an angel, in apprehension how like a god. He counsels, he gives advice, suit the action to the word to the action. In other words, walk your talk. That's integrity. And then he explains, he reasons, what is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fast in us unused. And to his mother, the queen, the prince, Hamlet, responds, seems, madam, nay, it is, I know not seems. So this will be explained now, that for people who have lost integrity, seems is all they know. They live and work in a world of seeming to be something they're not. They worry more about how others see them than about who they are. They are actors who wear a false face to cover up covert operations or maintain an image, public image, external image. But this is not who they really are. There is a shirt with imprinted statement in Latin language, esse quam videri, which means to be rather than to seem. So in other words, be real. Don't pretend you are something you are not. This should be the motto of every person seeking primary greatness. Unfortunately, too often, seeming to be substitutes for real integrity. It's seeming as opposed to being. Now let us look at two primary qualities or characteristics or traits of integrity. So integrity, we can say, is the child of two primary character traits: humility and courage. Humility means that you over time realize that principles or natural laws ultimately govern and that we are subordinate to them. What does that mean? A humble person, a really humble person never says I'm in control or I'm in charge of my destiny. Now this theme is very common in much of the success literature in recent decades, and this is a product more of the social value system. And our social values may not be based on rock-solid, timeless principles, but on the shifting sense of ego or opinion. And here ego means false ego, not real ego. There is ego, there is real ego, but there is false ego also. One president of an international communications company, he showed their value statement once. He shared their value statement, the value statement of his company, values statement. We are committed to the practice of all praiseworthy values that enhance the worth of individuals and strengthen our communities. Now, when he was asked about his core values, he mentioned the following ones: integrity, excellence, service, profitability, sensitivity, sincerity, and high ethical and moral standards. So this sounds great. And we can say to this that there is certainly nothing wrong with this set of company values, as they are actually closely aligned with enduring principles, with timeless principles. Now, what matters most is how you apply this, how you integrate them in your daily action. So in discussing integrity, you can say that you can emphasize legal, ethical, and moral standards, and you can say that they are not best made simply with words on a poster in the corporate office or the corridor, but with the attitudes and actions of people at all levels. So basically, if a company has a mission statement, they need to use it, and people should act according to this mission statement. Now, this business leader who shared this, he was humble, and he understood the importance of walking the talk and making sure that the talk, or this corporate value system, was based on timeless principles, enduring principles, which are actually the laws of nature. So he realized that we are not in control, and that natural laws and principles control. And that the attitude of humility is actually the mother of all virtues, because all of them come through that spirit of submission to pragmatic reality. That means to the reality of the laws of nature. Now, the father of all virtues is considered to be courage, because when put to the test, courage defines our commitment to those virtues. So if you believe in principles, if you believe in goodness, if you believe in virtues, how much you are committed, how much you are bold to commit to these principles, even sometimes be ready to die for principles. And we see in life, our experience is that every value we proclaim is tested. So the big question is, will we decide to align our values, our lives, our habits, our daily action with those principles? So as it is said by Hamlet, to be or not to be, that is the question. Seeming to be is not something we want. We don't want to pretend we are something we are not. We want to be real, we want to be genuine, we want to be authentic, we want to be our best self. So we need to live by the timeless principles, and we may be humble, but the question is, are we courageous? Will we sometimes, if needed, swim upstream against very powerful social values or against our own individual tendencies? So will we put the good reason to good use, like being reasonable. We will not be able to do this if we lack the courage to act upon our core beliefs, which are based on these principles. And sometimes we have these trendy social values, and they can cover the timeless principles, the importance of timeless principles. So one has to always be aligned with timeless principles. So when one has both humility and courage, he naturally manifests integrity. So integrity, we can say that integrity means that your life is integrated around principles and that your security comes from within, not from without. And it also means to maintain the highest levels of honesty and credibility in all relationships. And that means building trust and becoming trustworthy. So we will not have integrity if we lack humility, or if we have the humility but lack the courage to act on our convictions, then again we will not have integrity. Rather than integrity, we will have duplicity, hypocrisy. And this is called sometimes like personality ethic rather than the character ethic. So people who lack integrity will give you an outward show of personality that isn't anchored in the ethical standards of true character. It is false, it is counterfeit. So false integrity means your security lies outside yourself. You are secure only to the degree to which you are accepted by others and to the degree to which you compare or compete favorably with others. Now, when we speak about this, we have to confess that we are not perfect and we are struggling with many of these high principles, or to live in line with them, in harmony with them. But that struggle is worthwhile and fulfilling because it gives meaning to life and enables us to love, to serve, and to try again and again. But we know what is our goal. So this challenge of living with integrity is always in front of us. So maybe you have been in a dialogue with yourself about this your whole life. And we can ask, do I have a right to teach this? Some things I don't always perfectly follow. And one famous psychologist once said that which is most personal is most general. So many people have this kind of inner conversation about their own integrity. So the closer we get about the truth, or we may say inner truth of who we really are, the more we can get the insights that everybody else can relate to. When we share this, when we share the truth about our own self-realization, then we can see that when we share it with people, many people can identify with this. So this is the meaning of the statement that this which is most personal is most general or universal. Now, economic crises teach us some lessons, and many businesses can actually be shut down. Financial industry may stumble also because of practices that do not always demonstrate integrity. Therefore, it means like there is a lot of cheating going on in business. And many great companies have been brought down, have been unsuccessful due to lack of humility and awareness of the realities of what they were doing. And some have gone through some deep soul searching, and some of them have actually succeeded to recover. So many of us are forced into humility sometimes, but it's better to humble ourselves by choice, to choose to be humble, to choose to understand what's going on and our position. As we develop more internal security and integrity, we will then be humbled by conscience, which is this inner compass of what is right and what is wrong, and not by circumstances, not by force, not by social pressure, and not by social values. If we don't take account of ourselves and use our self-knowledge, we will always be projecting our motivations onto the outside world. So with our limited vision, we think we see the world as it is, and we mistake observation for introspection. We misunderstand ourselves, other people, and the world if we are constantly in a state of projection and observation. We must pay the price through honest introspection to gain self-knowledge and self-realization. So thank you very much for listening to this audio broadcast, and we will stop here and we will continue. I will probably do this in 3 parts or maybe 4 parts because there is more material to cover and to discuss. And I hope this is useful for you. Maybe sometimes it's difficult to follow because there is a lot of phrases and words. It may sound too intellectual, but I will try to make it more simple in the next broadcasts. And the next title that we are going to cover is 3 selves in one. So it explains about our secret self, our private self, and our public self. So that will be very interesting. So please stay tuned, and I will try to have a broadcast on this topic tomorrow again, and I hope this will be useful for you. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.